Hi, Atavism from Ancient Gamers here with a quick tutorial on how to use the Modular Customization Manager for Atavism. Once you download and import the package, you will find all of the scripts and all of the items that contained within the system within Ancient Gamers Modular Customization System. In here, you'll find some character create objects. These are the human race objects for the screen, for the character select screen. And each one contains the male and female prefabs for the specific items that you're looking for. And here are any particular materials that were created for specific types of things, like mesh tint, having eyes and hair. The prefabs are specific character prefabs that needed a prefab variant or a root object. The resources are where all of the prefabs that you'll be working with are contained, and they have all of the information for each one of the different types of prefabs that we'll be using. Scenes contains two different scenes: the character selection scene, which will have all of the items automatically created for you and selected for out of here, and the modular scene, which shows all the individual items. Contains the scripts, which has the different items that are needed here, some shader masks, and some shaders. And we'll go on to the first object and take a look at the modular system. And in here, we'll start out the very top. And if you are using a Infinity PBR system, then you'll have a integration process that can be used here to integrate the scripts for Infinity PBR. And then enable saving PBR blend shapes allows you to save the particular blend shapes for that individual object. So we'll go over to the Infinity PBR versions that have that set here. And you can see that it's got it set here. A replacement object. This is for Cinti objects where you have a single object type for like the polygon cities, and it's this replacement object here. And you just create a duplicate of the first object, call it the replacement item, and then that's what we use to replace the object as we need. You can see here it's selected as the replacement item. The body mat is selected from the default body mats that are associated with the Cinti characters or with the particular object. The head mat, hair mat, eye mat, and mouth mat enable instancing. Body shader, head shader, hair shader, eye shader, and mouth shader are all associated with the characters and whether or not they have an individualized head, a body itself, eye shaders and eye materials, hair materials, and mouth materials. Remember, we looked over here and there was a mesh tint object that had a material, and so these are the objects that go in there for the mesh tint, and the materials are replaced on the prefab on runtime so that we can do instancing and we can do color and replacements. The shaders, if there is a specific type of shader for here, you can see that we're only using a single shader, and that is just so we can shade nothing. I don't believe there is no support for color shading on the skin for this at this point. So we're just using the original matte and the shader. The customization on this allows you to customize which skin you're using. So down here, the direct set, direct eye, and skin colors, these are used for changing the skin color from the standard. So here's pretty much how you would use it. Over here on the resources for the modular system, you can see that we are using the colorist custom shader from Cinti. And then here on the base skin, we are using their default shader and their standard here. You can see we're using their default skins and textures. And so if you have one that you want to change, such as the polytope, you can put the standard body, direct set the skin color, and then the shader color that's associated with the polytope skin will change just the skin material that's on there. So down here we have use beard color 2 for color 2. In some systems like Infinity PBR, they have a color 2 that is associated with the hair that is a secondary color that allows for sliders. And this way you can let the beard color be used for that purpose, for blending. There's allow different hair colors. This is if you want your head, your hair, your beard, and your mustache and eyebrow colors to be individually toggable, and so that you can select and create each one of those as an individual color. Internal hair models, beard models, eyebrow, mouth, eye, ear, and tusk models are whether they are inside the model themselves or an external model. This way we can just set them active or inactive, or we actually have to spawn them into the objects. So if your objects are internal, like for polytope, then you'll want to utilize the internal, sorry, not polytope. Yep, polytope like this. You'll see here internal hair, internal beard, and internal eyebrow. But we do not use internal mouth, eyes, or any of these models, so those would not be toggled. The root objects for the parent objects for the hair transform, beard, eyebrow, and the individual ear joints, mouth joints, and eye joints. Looks like I have to correct a few namings. And then the root bone that's associated with the root. You can see that some of these are not needed because we're not even actually associating with that. So if your model doesn't require it, don't bother filling these out. These are only for the individual items that are required. So here you can see that we have a hair listed, and these are all internal models. So we can just sit here and select the lock, drag these objects and drag them into here, and then they would appear into the list. You can see the same thing with beards. There's no eyebrows, no ears, no tusks, no eyes, none of that. So there's nothing associated with that. Now, as far as torsos, you can see that at this point in time, we don't have, we can select any of these armors that are associated with the individual body types and then drag them into the torsos, the hips, the upper arms, the lower legs, and the individual items. Now these models, this is sort of this name, the head models. It is for the head, and the hands are for the hands, but not all models are built the same. So in Polygon, or in the modular, you can see these individual pieces are different portions. And so this is the hips and the lower leg. But when we go to the polytope, this is the hips, this is the lower leg, this is the torso, and you can see that the arms are part of the torso and the hands. So what you do is you work with the individual model and you associate them with the closest object that is of the type. So for this, we're going to put everything within the torso that is associated within this frame, and then the hands here, but we have no lower arms or legs, or we have no lower arms and upper arm portions. So we don't have to worry about that. We don't at all, because it's associated with the torso. So what this creates is the hands, lower legs, arms, and upper arms and hips are all associated with kind of random, you can use them for whatever you want. The torso we actually utilize for very specific purposes, so you should utilize the torso for only torso models and full body models for like the Polygon City from Cinti, where they are full body. And then you can see that the body object is used as a torso, and we don't have anything else filled out. And what this does is it causes the systems to flip over into a different system and change out all of these. Now you notice that these are the objects that are associated with this character, and they're all disabled. We've got that one here, and then these are associated with a different character from the Polygon Fantasy Characters fixed scale characters. So what this system does is you can drag in any one of these. These are the pre-filled characters that are from the fixed scale, and this is just the prefabs right here. And you notice there's just nothing in there, right? It's just the object itself. So once we go back, we'll be able to go ahead and just see what we do is we drag those objects into the individual torsos, and we just drag it here. So if we want to add another one, we just drag this and we drop it right here, and it'll appear in the list. We don't want that one because it's already in the list. And this way you can actually add every single Cinti or individual prefab that is individually from a company, from one manufacturer or maker, and swap them out. Might work for swapping out different characters from different sets. I'm not sure, I haven't tested that. Blend shape preset objects. So this is on a character for Atavism or something that has a blend shape, and we'll go here and we'll take a look, and you can see that the blend shape objects have a single blend shape that comes from Atavism, and that's just the female range. And so you can add as many blend shape objects as you want. But this goes back up to an option that we had here, which is Infinity PBR integration and enable saving Infinity PBR blend shapes. If you enable this option, this function down here does not work. This is only for presets that you have clicked on and come up here, made a preset, and then clicked export the values as a preset, and then utilize those. So that would allow you to create individual presets for different size characters, different lengths, different shapes, anything that you wanted could be created here, and it'll allow you to set a very specific range of items, say 5 different character looks, instead of allowing the character to change. This option up here is more for setting the actual blend shapes values that are on the blend shape manager at the time into the system, and then saving them for Infinity PBR to use in runtime. So we'll launch anything that's here, and anything that will load that value that you've created, save it to the character, and then on runtime we'll load it out of the database and then run it out. So then we'll go down. The next objects are just some information for the scripts to handle. Some of this stuff is not required unless you actually have an option. So like changing out the different torsos and things where you want the default object to be available. So you can see that we have the default head name here, default female head name, and then there's male parts and female parts for the hands, upper arms, torsos, hips, and the different variations, and as well as the different colors for the different objects. Now these are the ones that are associated with when you click play, and it's inside of the character. It's what the character should set as default, and you come over here and you can click on the individual objects and see which ones are associated with what color. And then when you click play, it will allow you to finalize the settings, and it'll show you the settings. So at this point, what we've done is we've gone through most of the settings, and we will come back at very times and set up actual characters so that you can see how we will individually set up different types of characters for your different use case models. Thank you for stopping by this video, and until next time, have a great day.